I'm Matt Cardos. I'm your DoubleGSports.com baseball insider, and I'm here tonight just because I've been getting an endless amount of tireless tweets in regards to the outfield market and why it is what it is. Um, in plain English, uh, the market is inflated right now because the demand of outfielders is so high and the quality of outfielder available is so low. And that's why you have guys like Marlon Byrd getting the amount of money that they're getting from the Phillies, and you have guys like Nelson Cruz asking for 4 years at 75 million, and why Curtis Granderson is going to get a guaranteed fourth year wherever he goes, and why he's probably going to get upwards of 15 to 16 million dollars wherever he goes. It's because teams want a quality outfielder, and they're very few and far between as far as ones that are available on an open market. Power is at a premium right now. There's no doubt about it, and teams are willing to overpay to acquire that power. And you see it in the last couple of years. The trend has just gone up and up and up now to where the price of these outfielders is skyrocketed. And it's these guys are going to get their money. They're asking for their money, and teams are giving it to them. You're going to have guys like Sin Chu Chu who can't hit lefties. He's just terrible. You probably, if you're going to sign Chu, he's looking for $100 million. You're probably going to have to platoon him against the left-handed starting pitcher, and that's just the point where we've got to in today's day and age of the free agent market. Teams have money; they're willing to give it to guys, and so that's where we are right now. Curtis Granderson reportedly met with the Mets yesterday in San Diego with General Manager Sandy Alderson. From what I've heard, those talks are just preliminary, introductory talks. I don't believe dollars and cents and years were discussed as far as I've heard, but I do believe that there's genuine interest from the Mets in Granderson. And I think there's genuine interest from Granderson's party as well. So I think that he's comfortable playing in New York. He spent the last 4 years there in the Bronx, and he's gotten comfortable there. He's proved that he could hit well there. He's been an all-star. He's had MVP caliber seasons in New York, so there's no doubt that he could play there. And I think that's a big plus for the Mets too. I think the Mets are very worried about giving a long-term big contract deal to a guy that is going to fall on his face in New York. After the Jason Bay deal, I can't necessarily blame them, but the New York Mets franchise has kind of reached a point now where they are desperate. They have to do something, and they promised fans they were going to spend the money that came off the books this season, that came off the books in Santana and the Bay deal and the Francisco deal, and they promised that they would reinvest it and that the payroll would be similar, if not higher, than it was last year, and that they were going to go out and they were going to acquire some talent. And I think Granderson is, though he's not, I don't think, a cornerstone player. I don't think he's a franchise player or a player you're going to build your offense around, but he's certainly a massive upgrade over anything that the Mets have put out there for the last 3 or 4 years. And so I think there's a genuine possibility. That's been my prediction all offseason, that Granderson was going to end up with the Mets, and I still hold true to that. I believe Granderson is going to end up signing with the Mets. Um, I tweeted today. I even had a little chat with Sweeney Murdy via Twitter. He thinks he's going to get a little higher. I think Granderson's going to sign somewhere between 4 years, between 48 to 52 million, 12 to 13 million dollars a year. Sweeney believes it's a little higher, maybe somewhere closer to 60 million, so $15 million annually, which wouldn't surprise me. And I've said that all along too. I don't think the higher watermark is that crazy anymore. Uh, when I've seen the contracts that have been given out the last couple of years, I don't think any contract is all that crazy anymore. So when all said and done, Granderson's going to get somewhere between probably 55 and 60 million dollars a year, whether it be from the Mets, the White Sox, or whoever it might be. He's going to probably get that fourth year. I think that's going to be the sticking point in a lot of negotiations with teams with Granderson is the fourth year. Ultimately, he's going to ask for it, and ultimately he's going to get it, and that's what's going to seal the deal, in my opinion. As far as Nelson Cruz, um, not even just as far as the Mets go. I'd be afraid of Nelson Cruz if I was a team interested in him. He's a declining player. He's aging. He's probably gonna have to DH at the back end of the contract that you give him. He's he's a below average defender in the outfield. Uh, I think he's more of an American League player at this point. So on days you can DH him. I don't think he's a good fit for the Mets. You like the power, but his average is only going to decline as he's getting older, and the production's only going to go down, and the biogenesis thing has to scare you too. I mean, how could it not? You put up those power numbers after a lackluster start to your career, and then you just kind of explode for 4 or 5 years with massive power numbers, and you get busted for PEDs. You can't help but throw up a red flag and wonder if this is legit power or if this is just all assisted by steroids. And I think that's going to be a major red flag in negotiations with teams with Nelson Cruz. I think a return to Texas is a genuine possibility. I think there's a few other teams that are possibilities out there. I think Seattle is going to have to be desperate to acquire a power bat. I ultimately think that's where Jacoby Ellsbury is going to end up. He's a Northwest guy, kind of has roots to the area, and Seattle's going to be looking to throw money at somebody. They're looking to make a splash as well. They probably have the most money to spend out of all the teams that are looking to acquire power this offseason. So I think Seattle is definitely a major player for Jacoby Ellsbury. Ultimately, I think Sin Chu Chu. I think he's a good fit for a lot of teams. Now that the Tigers have kind of delved into a bunch of different things, I can see him as a good fit for the Tigers. I could see him as a fit for the Yankees. I could see him as a fit in Seattle. I could see him as a fit in Texas. There's multiple places. I could see him going back to Cincinnati, though. I think that's remote at this point. I think it's a definite possibility. So I wouldn't rule out Sin Chu Chu getting a lot of money this offseason as well. The definite two outfielders that you're going to see to get the most money is Ellsbury and Chu, just based on the seasons that they're coming off of, their age, their speed, their defense. So that's what teams are looking to do right now. They're just looking to throw money all over the place at these outfielders, and that's why the market is the way it is right now. But like I said, it's the market's very inflated with respect to the talent available and the money being thrown out there. A lot of teams have money and a lot of teams need the player, but there's not that many talented players, so teams are going to try to outbid each other, and some teams are going to have to overpay in order to get them to come to their respective organizations. And so that's why the outfield market is what it is. Hope I helped.